And all welcome back to Healthcare Sucks. I said I would if you watched my last video, otherwise you don't even know what the heck is going on, do you? Well, we all know it's out of control. So we're jumping right into it tonight. Here we go. With the news.
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're watching us safe and at home. Here in New York, the current American epicenter of this pandemic, the first data tonight suggesting that maybe, just maybe, social distancing is helping to slow the onslaught of coronavirus. And yet officials say the worst days are still to come. The numbers are still rising, leaving the region's medical system on the edge of being overwhelmed, and other cities fearing they may very well be next. We've got it all covered. Miguel Almaguer starts us off.
As our country faces a national emergency and scenes like these unfold in communities big and small, tonight New York State says it's the canary in the coal mine. Once bustling city streets have become eerily quiet, while lines outside hospitals stretch around the block. Makeshift morgues are being prepared. The governor says in 3 weeks, coronavirus cases will hit their high point.
We still have the trajectory going up.
I have to say a couple of things, guys. I'll make it quick. Wuha, part 2. Morgues. I mean, just think back. Watch my videos. Go back. Makeshift morgues. In the U.S., though, you're not going to see those trailer little cremators they pushed off that super cremate massive bodies. They're going to do it with tack in the United States because people would wig out. But this is a very important part. Did you catch what he said about New York? It won't even be epic or the epic, to the extreme point that we're going to with the disease. Epic, whatever it's called. For 3 weeks. Remember what the president said? 2 weeks? It's going to all be over and done? Don't get me wrong. I'm not nitpicking at the president. But I'm telling you, 2 weeks? No way in hell. 3 weeks? It's just gonna be revving up. Because right now, my last video on the end, and I will add it to this video, New Orleans is out of control. Because why? Because everybody went out and partied and did the Mardi Gras thingies and next Florida's going to be, and it's already hitting there, Florida. And then, I hate to say it, guys, you guys in the middle, this thing came in on my last video. Real quick, I'll do this scenario for you. The planes and everything that weren't stopped went mainly to New York, the East Coast, basically. And I'm sure there's a couple other stops, Chicago or wherever over that way, and the West Coast. And as you've seen it, it's not so much Oregon. That's why Oregon got skipped. It was LA and Anaheim and down there in California and Washington. So there you have it. It's spreading from both sides inward to the news.
80% still self-resolved. About 15% of the people who test positive require hospitalization.
While the explosion of new cases in New York are slowing, the city's high density and residents leaving town could exacerbate the spread. Police are warning residents to avoid crowds. Some city streets will be closed to traffic so pedestrians can spread out. Across the country in California, where half as many tests have been taken than New York, the death toll and those infected could easily become the highest in the nation.
We are anywhere from about 6 to 12 days behind what we are seeing in New York City.
Even in our country's most remote state, Hawaii, there is trouble in paradise as new cases skyrocket. More than half the nation has orders for residents to stay home. But some governors, like Florida's, will not issue a state mandate.
To order someone not to be able to earn a paycheck, that is something that I think is inappropriate.
But the World Health Organization says staying at home is vital.
Lockdowns slow down a virus like this. You have got to find those transmission chains, cut them to actually stop it.
Tonight in Louisiana, where the virus is spreading faster than anywhere else in the world, hospitals describe their fight against the illness as a war zone. Our Blaine Alexander is in New Orleans.
Today, Bourbon Street is practically a ghost town, but exactly 1 month ago, more than 1 million people packed here for Mardi Gras. And experts say that that is a big reason that numbers here are growing faster than almost anywhere in the world.
The crisis around the globe is grim. While Italy has the highest death toll, over 6,800, Spain has now surpassed China, 700 dead overnight. And just today, word that 71-year-old Prince Charles tested positive for the virus, but has not been hospitalized.
We thought she just maybe had the flu or had a bad cough.
In St. Louis, all 5 members of the Winehouse family contracted the virus. Mom Jane needed a ventilator to keep her alive.
No health issues in her past, no pre-existing conditions whatsoever.
With this California doctor living in a tent outside his home to limit exposure to his family, it's another example of sacrifice, as every American faces the same threat tonight.
In cities like New York, social distancing appears to be working. With the number of new cases slowing, that is offering a glimmer of hope. Meantime, here in Los Angeles, we're told the order to stay away from crowds could last as long as 2 months. But Lester, we should point out the vast majority of Americans who get sick do not need to go to the hospital. Lester?
Important to keep in mind. Miguel, thank you. This extraordinary crisis certainly leading to some extraordinary calls to action. For example, New York University graduating some of its medical students early so they can join the battle as more hospitals around the country are besieged. Here's Tom Costello.
From the doctors on the front lines, a sobering reality check on the pandemic. Desperate for supplies, New Jersey doctor Alexander Salerno has set up triage tents to handle 300 patients a day and spent $17,000 buying supplies on the black market at an 800% markup.
They open up the warehouse and you see pallets upon pallets of equipment, gowns, N95 masks, Purell hand sanitizers, Clorox wipes. It's insane. And I'm like, there's no moral compass.
At Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston, critical care doctor Daniela Lamas knows the devastating impact of not allowing visitors to the hospital.
I'm worried about my patients taking their last breaths alone. I worry about this at the same time that I acknowledge that this is actually what we must do in today's climate with this illness.
At New York Metropolitan Hospital in Harlem, a surge in young patients on ventilators struggling to breathe.
At the present time, we have an adequate number, but the patients that are requiring the ventilator are increasing with each day, and I will need more mechanical ventilators.
New York Governor Cuomo again reiterating his hospitals are in immediate need of ventilators, urging other states to share theirs and promising to reciprocate as the virus rolls across the country.
We're asking for their help and their consideration, and we will repay it with dividends.
Other cities are already feeling the heat. Hospitals in Atlanta and Detroit say they're full. Illinois' governor warns in a worst-case scenario, he'll need another 9,000 ICU beds and 5,000 ventilators by April 6th, double what he has now. NBC's Morgan Chesky is in Miami.
Doctors here in Florida say the low number of confirmed cases does not reflect reality, and that's why this field hospital is being built to accommodate an expected surge of COVID-19 patients.
Meanwhile, at Unshattered, an addiction recovery nonprofit in upstate New York, they're working round the clock, making masks for local medical workers.
We anticipate being able to make about 1,500 masks per week, but we know that we cannot meet this shortage.
One more note, the nation's VA hospitals also say they're seeing older COVID-19 patients, but they insist they're also ready with masks and ventilators. Lester?
All right, Tom, thanks. A health crisis and, of course, a financial one. The economic impact. So many people anticipating that massive emergency aid bill that includes direct payments to most Americans. But tonight, the bill has still not been passed. Peter Alexander has late details for us.
Tonight, the largest economic relief package in U.S. history, more than $2 trillion worth, is expected to get the Senate's green light, despite some last-minute drama.
This is not even a stimulus package. It is emergency relief.
First up, those direct payments to most Americans. For people making up to $75,000 a year, a $1,200 check. Couples making up to $150,000 would get $2,400, plus an additional $500 per child. Next, unemployment benefits rising by $600 a week for up to 4 months, now expanded to include gig economy workers and freelancers. Small businesses also getting a boost. Forgivable loans up to $10 million to keep paying their employees. Also in the deal, $500 billion for corporations like airlines, including new rules on oversight and a ban on stock buybacks. And more than $100 billion for hospitals. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo saying his state that's been hardest hit will get $3 billion, what he says is not nearly enough.
That is a drop in the bucket as to need.
Overnight, new reaction to the president's suggestion that he'd love to have the U.S. opened up.
Okay. I get New York's thing right there that he just said. $3 billion isn't enough. And it might not be. And you kind of heard where the money's going. But I'm going to make it quick because I've already preached this enough. But if it's not all for one and we all don't get a cut of this, the needy, the really needy people at the bottom, the people in the medium, and the people that I think are doing pretty damn good that are making up to $75,000 a year. And some of those people are still drawing salaries. And you heard, they're going to get bonus in their unemployment and all this other. So all I'm saying is what's fair is, one last time, SSI, SSD people get the same benefit. Seniors, disabled, mentally ill, and the homeless. Along with, now, because I've had several calls today, or texts and whatever to my site, that people, home run businesses, various types of home run business, and some in the medical profession, the people that go out and take care of people, that some of them aren't, licensed type situations, and a lot of other jobs are not going to get it either. So with that kind of money, everybody needs to get their piece because, again, it's all for one. So that's all I'm saying on it. I'll let you guys decide. I've made my point. I love you guys. And I think you're going to be very unhappy. Come around. And there's one last thing. They're stalling this for 3 weeks to a month before we get any money, if we get any money now. While the banks, 1 week. Who do they love? Who are we? Well, according to one person, we're deplorables. According to the Queen, Nancy Pelosi, it's crumbs. And she got it right for once. Because out of $2 trillion and $4 more trillion going to the banking system, the Federal Reserve, that's $6 trillion. $1,000 a piece for the entire United States would be a drop in the bucket.
By Easter,
we're going to look at it. We'll only do it if it's good, and maybe we do sections of the country.
His top public health advisor, who's warned the outbreak will likely last well past then, calling the president's timeline an aspirational goal.
He's been very flexible about it. Even though it looks like he's made this absolute decision on something, he does have an open mind about it.
That drama over the bill, a clash over unemployment insurance that still needs to be settled before it goes to the House. The president saying he'll sign it immediately. And as for those checks, you could get them faster if you have direct deposit with the IRS. If not, it could be more than a month by mail. Lester?
All right, Peter, thank you. And that new stimulus package includes hundreds of billions of dollars for small businesses. But will that be enough? Many workers resorting now to desperate measures to get by. Our Gabe Gutierrez reports.
Tomorrow, new national unemployment numbers are expected to shock the system. Likely millions of Americans, like Cheryl Swanson, are filing claims for the first time.
It's a new reality that none of us really know how to deal with.
Laid off from a restaurant in Colorado, she says it took her 6 days to file her claim.
It was next to impossible. A lot of my coworkers didn't even try because they could tell from all of us that it was just maddening.
GoFundMe is launching a small business relief initiative where people can donate online. Across America, the great adaptation is underway. Businesses are getting creative to survive.
Big breath in.
Yoga studios teaching down dog online. Electricians in San Francisco using their vans to deliver groceries.
I think our guys are enthusiastic about it.
From Chicago to Omaha, distilleries now brewing hand sanitizer.
We'll form us an assembly line and crank as many out as we can.
But now new concerns about the workforce still on the job. Less than a week after Amazon announced it was hiring 100,000 new employees to meet surging demand for home deliveries, workers in at least 6 of its warehouses have tested positive for COVID-19. And with customers packing grocery stores and pharmacies, employees there are on alert.
It's a chance that I'm willing to take and my crew's willing to take and serve the community.
In some cases, the line for groceries stretches around the block. Some other stores here in the New York area have had to temporarily close after employees tested positive for the virus. Lester?
All right, Gabe, thank you. We'll be back in 60 seconds with an inside look at a hospital pushed to the brink. As the U.S. healthcare system is pushed.
Looks pretty grim, huh, guys? Pretty, I hate to be the gloom and doom kind of guy again. But, it sure does not look it. So I'm going to bring to you the thing. I want a better view of what's going on in the middle at, well, not exactly the middle, but Mardi Gras area. What came of that? I think we need to take a closer look because that's where I believe every state is going to be eventually.
In the South, and hospitals are becoming overwhelmed. We're talking about Louisiana, Florida, and Georgia are seeing alarming spikes with more than 4,700 cases and 125 deaths in those states alone. Health officials say large public events like spring break and Mardi Gras are partly to blame. We have 2 reports from the region, beginning with Omar Villafranca in New Orleans. Omar?
Nora, there are more cases in the New Orleans area than in all of Los Angeles County, and LA County is 25 times bigger. I'm here on Bourbon Street. It is empty, and it's a sobering reminder of the severity of this pandemic.
The French Quarter is shut down as the Big Easy braces for a big spike in coronavirus cases. In just over 2 weeks, the number of cases in Louisiana has skyrocketed to almost 1,800.
Louisiana is one of the epicenters, unfortunately, of this epidemic.
Former State Health Director Rebecca Gee says masks and other protective equipment are running out.
This is unprecedented for all of us.
Doctors believe the city's yearly Mardi Gras festivities escalated the spread of the virus. 54-year-old Gina Brown lives with HIV and says COVID-19 has her scared to leave the house.
When you see that the beds are getting filled up and some people still aren't social distancing, what do you do?
I don't want to die. We have to take this thing seriously. Wash your hands. If they say stay inside, stay inside.
But that didn't stop worshipers at Baton Rouge's Tabernacle Church, where 450 people gathered for worship Tuesday night. State officials say they're looking into it. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, New Orleans.
To Indonesia.
Indonesia is on the cusp of a full-blown coronavirus disaster. The country has the world's highest death rate, but is testing the least amount of people, and it's feared half the nation will soon be infected.
In Sulawesi, social distancing doesn't exist. Jakarta, people still pile into public transport. Bali, thousands defying a ban to celebrate a religious festival, even after a Frenchman died from COVID-19 on a public street, and as a family mourns the loss of British mother of 4, Kimberly Finlayson.
The heart of my family has been ripped out.
For weeks, politicians said Indonesia was virus-free due to prayer, when in fact they didn't have proper testing kits. Even now, fewer than 3,000 people out of 267 million have been screened, equivalent to just 160 people in Australia, and resulting in a whopping death rate of more than 9%. While that rate is expected to drop as testing increases, modelling suggests infections will skyrocket from just 790 confirmed people to half the population, with no stringent lockdowns in place and a health system unlikely to cope, medicos wearing raincoats.
And I lost my wife without knowing what was going on. That level of care is lacking, as is the level of communication.
Aussies still in Bali say the mood is calm, but business is struggling.
At this stage, we have no bookings until July.
Renee Henry, 9 News.
Hollywood.
I'm an editor of network television shows. So right now I'm working on a network show, and we just finished shooting it, so we are able to continue editing it, right? But we're all in flux right now. It's a giant scramble, and we're trying to get everyone to work from home, but there's a lot of technological and security issues to deal with when you're taking a huge edit facility and then suddenly splitting it into 45 different units to work from home. And I have friends who just don't have that luxury. Their show was shut down completely. And most of the people I know who are editors, they'll continue to work for a few more weeks. But most of the people who I know who are producers, now they were going to go into production. Their shows are shut down completely. They're out of work. They don't have income. That's that.
And so another tragedy I put to you, among many other things that have been taken away from us guys across the world because of China unleashing the bioweapon. I'm not candy coating it anymore. It's exactly what happened, exactly what is happening. And right now everybody's ignoring it because we're dealing with this. But we need to all watch our backs too. Excuse me. Because when somebody throws 5 or 6 daggers at you and hits you with 5 of the 6, let's say, don't turn your back, because they're waiting to stick another one in your back. And that's China. I'm not candy coating it one bit. If I didn't think for a minute that they're not plotting something over there, and this is not fear-mongering, guys, put the pieces together. You go out and explore the internet like I do. There's a lot of things that aren't covered. And I watch a lot of different people that dig. And in addition, not only do I have connections, military and other things, sources, so do they. And they are all uneasy. And they're all on standby. Not just the U.S., out in the ocean right now. I'm not kidding you. If you think I am, if you've got anybody that's in military that can speak about it, some of my sources I would never give up. But they've got let's say they've got the little emblem by their name. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on at King 5 up there in Washington, I believe.
Hey, tonight, the U.S. Senate unanimously passed a $2 trillion coronavirus stimulus package. Here's some of what it would do. Individuals who earn $75,000 or less will get payments of $1,200 each. Those payments scale down if you...
Real quick, I'm trying not to dwell. Do you see how hard it's for me, guys? I'm really trying not to dwell that we're getting screwed. Okay. See this figure? Up to 75 grand getting the full amount. Phased out at 100 grand. Yeah, at 100 grand, dude. That's like 8 or 9,000 a month, guys. What could you do with 8 or 9,000 a month? Oh my God, I can't even imagine having that much money to blow. Literally. But in this category, you don't get any of the people I discussed earlier. In this video, my other video, the video before that, and the video before that. No, they're not in this. And it's sad. I'm going to tell you right now, one last time, if we don't get help too, and that includes me, guys, because I'm not in that category. I'm not rich. And I don't I don't want to be, guys. I just would like, I mean, if I had a bunch of money, I'd be helping people right now. As a matter of fact, real quick, I started going through my stuff and giving stuff away the other day. I could use it to barter if things get a lot worse, but I put it out there, pots, pans. We've been going through stuff. I giving them away, TVs and stuff. A lady contacted me just coincidentally. Remember, I don't believe in coincidences. So something told me, to put the TVs on the list. Sure enough, lady, her TV just broke that night before. She's so happy. As a matter of fact, I'm actually, when I go tomorrow to do the shopping, she can't get around apparently, so I'm going to deliver it to her even. And then I'm delivering some pots and pans to a couple of the sources too. Just a thought. I'm not super nice guy. I'm just little old healthcare sucks that doesn't know anything. Pushed off deplorable. Love you guys, man. I do love you guys.
Over the set amount. It also gives $600 per week for 4 months to those who've been laid off. It also includes loans and funding for small businesses, industries, states, and hospitals. The bill now heads to the U.S. House of Representatives, where a vote is expected on Friday. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Mark Wright.
And I'm Greg Copeland. Here at home, businesses that are considered non-essential are closing tonight for at least 2 weeks. King 5's Tony Black shows us who's open and who's not.
The Stay Home, Stay Safe order from Governor Jay Inslee that takes effect at midnight could have a far-lasting impact beyond the 2 weeks where all non-essential businesses must close. Many places have already had to close during this coronavirus outbreak. Only essential businesses, grocery stores, gas stations, among others, can stay open after Governor Inslee's stay-home order takes effect at midnight. Everything else must close.
So it's time to hunker down in order to win this fight.
Some places hired private security. Yahya Sultan says his team has been watching this building in Capitol Hill for a few days.
The police, they're not going to come with no report. If nobody report about the accident, nobody's going to come.
Other places wonder if they'll be able to open again.
Try to launch this website I've been working on.
Wednesday, the state launched a new online form aiming to clarify what counts as an essential business and give business owners a way to ask the state to include them. It asks a few questions and gives space for people to expand on how their business is essential. Wednesday is also the deadline for small businesses in Seattle to apply to receive $10,000 from the city's Small Business Stabilization Fund. For a complete list of all of the essential and non-essential businesses, just text the word LIST to 206-448-4545. Here in Seattle, I'm Tony Black, King 5 News.
We received several questions about construction during the stay-at-home order. Tonight, Governor Inslee offered some clarification. In a memorandum, he said, in general, construction is not authorized because it is not considered to be an essential activity. However, exceptions include construction related to essential activities as described in the order. To further a public purpose related to a public entity like financed low-income housing, or to avoid unsafe conditions and also address emergency repairs at all structures. He could address it further tomorrow morning during another news conference, the first full day of the order. King 5 will carry that announcement live at 11 a.m. Today, the State Department of Health said it could not get an accurate count of cases and deaths because of a nearly tenfold increase in the number of lab reports received. These numbers right here, released today, are just best estimates. 132 people have now died from coronavirus in Washington. That's out of 2,580 cases. 80% of those deaths, by the way, are people over the age of 70. Well, rumors are circulating about State Patrol traffic stops during the stay-at-home order. To verify this information, we have the following message from State Trooper Thorson.
Hello, Trooper Thorson with the Washington State Patrol. They wanted to quash some rumors going around Washington State that troopers are specifically stopping cars to question and interrogate people about where they're going or what they're doing, or if they're essential employees. That is not true.
Trooper Thorson also dispelled the myth about our state's borders. He says borders with Idaho and Oregon remain open, and they are not conducting checkpoints there.
The word for that is yet. Yet. And meanwhile, maybe Washington's not officially stopping cars. LA is. We've watched some videos. LA is not only just stopping, but they're enforcing everything everywhere. And the guy was a total double SS. Yeah, you know what word I'm trying to say. He thought he was, oh boy, I don't know how to put it. I am the law. I'm Judge Dredd, LA police officer, because I am the law. Wait, that could be a song. I am the law. I am the law. I'm bringing down the hammer, because I am the law. Was that good? Maybe I'll write that someday. Just kidding, guys. It's been a long video. I'm not going to keep you no longer tonight. Thank you for tuning in to Healthcare Sucks. If it's your first time, glad to have you on board. Hope you share and subscribe, where we try to bring you the facts, and we try to bring you, when we put the pieces together, where this thing's going. And if you question my ability to do so, please go back and watch videos for the last 30 days from Wuhan, when Wuhan day 1 started to today. And I challenge anybody that questions Team 99 or myself to do so, and then to tell me I'm off on things. Because I'm not far off on anything I've put out. Even my scenarios I've researched, guys. And as a matter of fact, I get, like I said, other sources come to me. And I work with other sources. Rub on, source off. We use the Fair Use Act. Nothing here is a source that is fictional, factual, or real, or what's real. Is there a Wuhan monster? I question you tonight, before we go. Is the Wuhan monster real? The world may never know. I think that was like a lollipop thing. And the reason I brought that up, if you've been here for a while, because somebody hasn't got to say hi in a while. So I'm stepping out of the picture, and I'm going to let them close. Love you all. Good night. I'm back. Are you washing your hands tonight, boys and girls? Well, if you're not, you're going to get the Wuhan. Look at me. Look. See those spots? The Wuhan will give you spots. So wash your hands. Oh, and social distancing 6 feet. That's like way back. Not up here. Way back. All right. And don't forget, who are we watching? Healthcare Sucks. See you on the next show. Over and out.